Good morning, everyone. Let's take a couple deep breaths as we center ourselves. Let's expand our solar plexus energy. Make it as big as you in all directions. Now make it 6 feet bigger in all directions. Good job. How are you doing this morning? And how's your beautiful body doing? Yeah, you're not your body. Your body is you, but you're not your body. Always keep that in mind. You might be feeling okay, but the body is going through a huge transition. So always listen to the body. It's kind of like we've never had something like this happen before. There's no comparison. But if anything, it will be as bothersome as when a snake sheds his skin or when a crab molts and has to leave the shell, or a lobster leave the shell and grow a new one. But ours is a little bit deeper than that even. We're going from carbon base to crystalline base with everything in our body, starting from the bones, actually starting from the what's inside your bones all the way out. Now, can you see why your body sometimes feels lethargic and doesn't want to do much? Because everything within the body is changing, and not everything happens at once. Maybe your legs will first start, and then the arms, and then the fingers, or maybe whatever order your body decides. But it's not everything at once. It stops because the body needs that space to gather more energy for the transformation. Yesterday, we were talking about how every decision you've ever made has been the right decision for you. I got questions. How is that possible? Well, the decisions that you think were wrong, that you perceived as wrong, they taught you something. You didn't fail because you learned something. One time I heard something like, when you're in business, you might not be successful the first time or the second time. But as long as you continue to get up and try again, you don't fail. Like Edison, I think he's the one who invented the light bulb. He didn't fail the other thousands of times that the light bulb burned out. He just found another way for him to learn what not to do. That's how you have to look at your life. Those you got to go back and explore those things that you think were failures, and look at it really. Was it really failure, or what did you learn? If you got nothing, absolutely nothing from it, which is almost an impossibility, then you could call that a failure. But I bet you that in each and every one of those instances, you learn something, just like Edison. You learn as to what not to do again. So take a look at it. Don't be afraid of looking at the past actions of yours. And be the type of person that you would be to your best friend if they were to come and say, "Hey, do you think I failed when I did this?" Would you be as critical as you are with yourself? See, you can only see what you can see when you're ready to see. And oftentimes we are so critical with ourselves that we don't see what else is there because we're not ready to accept that maybe it wasn't that much of a failure. Maybe we needed to have this as the lessons learned so we don't do it again. Maybe we're not seeing the bigger picture, but things don't just happen ever. There is a reason why things are taking place the way they are. And in retrospect, you look back and you say, hmm, okay, if this had worked out, then I wouldn't be where I am today. You learn a lot about yourself when when you review what you deem to be a failure. If it's not part of what you're supposed to be doing, you will not be successful at it. But you will learn something. You will learn that that's not what you're supposed to be doing. And if maybe you just didn't want to do it, you wanted to try something and to prove that you could do it. But then once you knew you could do it, you say, okay, but I don't really want it. I don't like it. So you let it fail by itself. So what if you are just a success because you are, because you exist? Every day that we're here, every day that you wake up is success. Every day that you get out of bed is success. Every day that you take a shower is success. Every day that you have something to eat is success. See, to some people, everything that I've mentioned today, just now, is the norm. Others who are struggling with their health, they will give an arm and a leg to be able to do everything I just mentioned. Do you see how that is? What you determine to be success, sometimes you don't acknowledge the little things that is normal for you, that is expected of you and your body. But when you are not in the best of health, then you start paying more attention to it. And that's okay. No judgment. Now, as you look at your 2025 list, you might be saying, God, I failed. No, you haven't. You have learned things. You are learning things as you're getting this done. Now, the question is, what are you learning and how are you using that new knowledge, that new wisdom that you're getting? See, you're meant to be you. You're meant, you are meant to be. It's about being. It's not about doing. A lot of times our identity is tied to accomplishments. But really, are you the accomplishments? If those accomplishments are taken away from you, do you cease to exist? Of course not. The ego ties the idea that you've took on, and the ego has a bit of a trouble when that's stripped away from you. But you're still there. So pay attention to that. Pay attention to what it is that you're learning. So failure, don't be afraid of it. Failure is a teacher. What have you failed at this year? Write it down. What do you think you failed at this year? Write it down. And then explore each and every one of those as to how you learn something different from what you think was a failure. What did you learn? And then you will notice that perhaps it wasn't really a failure as you're declaring it to be. Because of those failures, you are who you are. You make the decisions that you make from the wisdom that came out of those failures, from the awareness that you got, from the experience that you gained. Always go back within and dissect it. I wouldn't just dissect what you deem to be bad, dissect the good as well, so that you can repeat the same thing and improve on what you've done before or improve on how it didn't work before. Because you never really fail. It's just the point of view you've taken. Now, I encourage you to also take up the other point of view, the one that says, what did I learn out of this? And how can I use this learning, this knowledge, this wisdom, this experience to my advantage? I bet you Edison did that, or the guy who invented the light bulb. Hmm. And with that, let's take a couple deep breaths as we center ourselves, as we come back to the present. And when you're ready, rub your hands together, rub your face, and open your eyes.